richer love in your home, strength and wisdom in you that you never knew that you had, and a testimony that helps another mom one day. The biggest thing for this podcast, for me, for my journey, for other moms' journey, for my friends' journeys, is that one day they reach an episode of mine, or they hear a word of mine, or a word of God that I gave them or I read to them or anything, is that I hope it helps them grow closer to the Lord. That is my one hope. So moms, you're not just raising kids, you're raising souls. You're planting seeds and preparing a harvest that heaven sees. That's the key. Don't quit. You can cry. You can rest. You can take a break. But don't throw in the towel on your motherhood, your faith, or yourself. What feels exhausting now, you will thank the Lord for the fruit you have just flourished and grew. So the key point here is that motherhood is seed planting work. The harvest doesn't come overnight. Waiting is part of the process. You have to wait for everything. You're not going to get what you want. It is going to be on God's timing. It is just why we keep going in circles of, can I really trust God to carry me through motherhood? Can I really trust God to carry me through the promise after conception? Can I trust God in my journey to conceive? We keep going back and forth, back and forth. It all ties together. So I just want to go over, some moms in the Bible here. Obviously, number one, we have Mary, the mother of Jesus. She knew who her son was supposed to be, but still had to wait 30 years to see his ministry really begin. Okay, so imagine back then, changing diapers of the Messiah, knowing he's the Savior, but not seeing the fruit produced immediately. Sometimes we know the promise, but still have to wait for the fulfillment. Like I said, brings it right back. We know the promise that God is going to give us, but we have to wait for the fulfillment. A really good example as well is the Proverbs 31 woman. I am not going to read the whole Proverbs 31 because it is a little lengthy, but if on your own time, if you want to go back to the Proverbs 31 woman, I highly recommend it. The fruit of her labor is described in hindsight in the verses. Her children rise up and call her blessed, but not while she was tired at 2 a.m. with a crying baby. The Proverbs 31 woman has inner strength. Not because, her life is easy or she just gets her way or anything like that. It's because she trusts God with her future. So moms, if we trust God with our little one's future, even in the unknowns of motherhood, sickness, finances is a huge one. Growth, identity. This woman knows that God's got her. So moms, why can't we know that God has got us in this motherhood journey? She is not lazy. She's intentional. She's not perfect. Like we said, nobody is perfect except Jesus himself. Not constantly busy, but focused on her assignment, focused on her path. What is your assignment? What is a mom's assignment? It's leading your children to God, to know God, and practicing what the Word says and how to raise your children. Moms, if we did that, I 100% guarantee you that you would see the fruit prosper, okay? Sometimes the blessing comes in later chapters, but God is watching every page you turn. I'm going to say it one more time because I feel like it's, you didn't get that. Sometimes the blessing comes in later chapters, but God is watching every page you turn. As a mom, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter. So what does the Proverbs 31 woman teach moms today, in this time? So the first thing that I would probably say is you don't have to do it all at once, okay? This is a lifetime of faithfulness, not a daily to-do list. So as long as you have breath in your lungs, you do not have to do this all at once. Number 2, your motherhood is ministry. Okay, God honors the diapers, the dishes, the devotion, the tantrums, the messy cleanups, the breakdown of crying, the laundry. Your motherhood is ministry. God would not have blessed you with a little one if he didn't think that you were ready to pursue that ministry. Number 3, it's okay to rest. Strength includes knowing when to slow down. And God will tell you when to slow down. Let me tell you that because it's happened to me before. Number 4, you are already more than enough because Christ is in you and he is your strength. Now, throughout this kind of section, I want to encourage you that you don't have to become the Proverbs 31 woman, okay? You are already walking in her shoes. One faithful, exhausted, and beautiful step at a time. And that's pretty much all I have to say there, moms. Do you ever feel like the waiting feels like you're failing? Like, just waiting for the terrible twos to be over, waiting for the tantrums to stop, waiting for your emotions to feel regulated again. If you just gave birth, waiting for your body to feel normal again, waiting for you to feel like you have your own body again, waiting for the intimacy in your marriage to return. I know that can be a big one. A lot of people do struggle with that. Waiting for your purpose beyond your motherhood to come into focus. So I'm talking about, what is your purpose as a wife? Or what is your purpose that you're trying to carry out as a sister, a daughter, and anything like that, okay? So I would like to leave you with some encouragement in this section here, is that your delay in any of this is not your denial. Your tiredness is not a failure. And your waiting is not a waste. Your delay is not your denial. Your tiredness is not your failure. And your waiting is not a waste. I'm going to flip over to Psalm real quick because I have a beautiful word in Psalm. It is going to be Psalm 130, verse 5. Okay? I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. I'm going to read it one more time for you. I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. So I'm just going to go little section by little section here. So I wait for the Lord. As a mom, you're waiting more than you realize, okay? So whether this would be, waiting for a nap time, maybe it's waiting for your child to hit a milestone. Maybe your child is behind, or maybe your child is ahead. So you're waiting for that milestone. You're waiting for peace in your home or clarity in your heart. You're waiting for a breakthrough in your prayer that you've whispered probably thousands of times to the Lord. And you're like, Lord, what is going on? This part of the verse reminds you that you're not waiting for time to pass. You're waiting on God to move. You're waiting on God to really take what you prayed for. And again, it's going to be in his timing. So I wait for the Lord. Waiting doesn't mean that God has forgotten you, but it means that he's preparing you for something good. So just because you're waiting for something to happen, it might just mean that you're waiting on something that is coming from the goodness of God. So the next part of it is my whole being waits. This isn't casual waiting. It's soul deep waiting. It's when you're tired in your body and you may be drained in your mind, but your spirit is still clinging to hope, and that's really good. You know that feeling a lot of moms tell me about is, when your child is sick and you're trying to do everything you can, but you still feel helpless. And I feel like even like if you're the babysitter or a sister or a sibling, it can be tough to watch your little one go through something and you're doing every single thing you can. When you're praying for strength just to make it through the day, I know that there's times where you want to sit there and just stop every single thing you're doing, but you do have a little one, and they are looking up to you. As you are serving God, they are looking up to you so that they can come to know God. When you're trying to not lose yourself in the middle of motherhood, this is the waiting with your whole being, your tears, your thoughts, your stretched thin patience. And God honors that deep, desperate trust that you are giving him. The last part of this verse is, and in his word I put my hope. So in his word I put my hope. This is not going to be like in the nap schedule, the parenting podcast, your ability to hold it all together, thinking about what's for dinner, like anything like that. It's not going to be in that stuff. It's going to be in God's word. In his word, I put my hope. His promises are where your real hope lives. So there's a couple of verses that I actually outlined. You can always pause and kind of go back to these if you want. I am just going to say them out to you. I'm not going to kind of flip back and forth or anything. So Isaiah 40:29 says that he gives strength to the weary. Corinthians 15:58, that is 1 Corinthians, by the way, that your work is not in vain. Then I also have another one, Psalm 46:1, that he is your refuge and strength. It is so important. It is so important that you make God your refuge and strength, okay? That your children are part of his purpose and plan. That is Psalm 127:3. Again, like I said, you can always pause and, go back, underline, outline. I have the study Bible, so sometimes I'll write little things, on the sides here, just so I don't forget that type of stuff. But with this, hope doesn't mean everything feels good. It means that you trust that God is still good right here and right now. Deep breath. There is not going to be any more verses from the Bible, but if you do want to keep out, your notebook, if you want to take your pen, you want to write down some of this stuff, there is 5 ways to wait as a mom. So I'm going to be going over those 5 things. So if you want to do the first one is to practice holy patience. Okay, holy patience. All right, it's okay to pause before you respond to your child, because God does that with us too. And you might not get what that means right now, but just say it to yourself again, that God does that with us too. Okay? Number 2, speak over the season. Okay? Whatever season you are in, I want you to speak over it. I want you to speak to the Lord about it. I want you to declare that this is temporary. My child will grow. My strength will return. And my harvest is coming. Again, that goes to, I wait for the Lord. Okay? The third one here is to stop comparing. I feel like this is something that happens a lot with moms, is that we kind of compare ourselves and we feel behind. Social media is a huge thing, and it will lie to you, and it will give you this is supposed to happen, this is how it's supposed to happen. Moms, this is your journey with the Lord, and it is how God is leading you. Everything is not going to be social media perfect. Okay? Number 4 is to choose rest over the rush. So you don't have to do it all. Slowing down is sacred, and God will let you know that. God will tell you, hey, you need to slow down because you're doing too much. I didn't give you this, this, and this. I give you this, and this is what you need to, carry the promise, okay? And then the 5th one is you just need to celebrate growth. Okay, whether it's, the baby's first word, your toddler saying thank you for the first time, you made it through the day without getting upset, without getting angry. You made it through the day without having a breakdown. God sees it all. And that is true. So, I want you to repeat this with me, okay? God is not late in my life. Again, goes back to I wait for the Lord. My whole being waits. So again, God is not late in my life. What I'm doing as a mother matters to heaven. I am growing even when I feel stuck. This wait is shaping me for my next, whether it's your next season, your next journey, whatever it is. My story isn't stalled, it's being written. God is not done with you. God is not done with you in your motherhood. You're as a wife, as a daughter, as a sister, anything. God is not done with you, okay? It is still being written. So I just want to leave you with some encouragement. Mamas, dive so deep into the Bible every single chance that you get. Okay, every single chance that you get, nap time, whether you have a 5-minute, just read a Bible verse. Mamas, continue serving the Lord, okay? Thank you so much for joining me today on Preach It Mama. If this episode just related to you, if this episode really gave you just encouragement, take 10 seconds to share it with another mom who's waiting, who needs some encouragement, who needs to hear that the Lord loves her, even in this journey. If you want to subscribe, leave a review, like anything, I would so appreciate it. Just stay tuned for more real, raw, and redemptive conversations. And just remember, because you're in the waiting, God is still with you, and He's still working on your story. It is still being written. Keep going. You're doing the holy work that God has for you. I also want to mention here that if you would like prayer, please feel free to comment on this video, message any of my social medias. I will do my absolute best to respond. There is a lot of things that I do have going on as well. So if you do want to pray for those things, we are moving. Of course, we are having a little one soon. So if you do need prayer, you're always welcome to message any of my social medias, and I will do my best to respond. And then I do want to mention something else that is kind of a little exciting. So I have a couple of books here. So I will be starting my own Bible study soon with these 2 books right here. You can either get the Bible in 52 weeks, or you can get the Bible in a year. I will link these as well. They are both on Amazon. These are the books that I'm going to be going over. I would just like to take a lot of people through the Bible and kind of go, verse through verse, or, maybe answer questions that people have about the Bible, have about verses, and if I can encourage you to get any Bible, I do encourage people to get the study Bible. Like I said, it is great just because it has those little columns where you're able to write some stuff in there, especially if you don't want to write anything in here, or if you don't want to get this type of book. It's just a really, really, really great tool here. This is the New English version. I like this one a lot better just because I can understand and read it a little bit better. But yes, please stay tuned for that. And then in 2 weeks, I will have another episode of Preach It Mama. So moms, have a wonderful week and see you guys later.